Okay, let me play you one of those videos. I hope it will explain some of the things I've been trying to pass across. By the way, before I play this video, do you remember a couple of weeks, about a month ago or thereabout, there was a guy called Mike Arnold who traveled to Nigeria and was having this media run, going from, especially was on Arise, talking about the fact that, oh, there's this thing happening in Nigeria. It was the mayor of one small town in Texas and all of those things. And it was essentially becoming our friend, talking about Christian persecution and things like that. Well, it turns out that he's working with the average guys. And his image and the videos, they're out. So this is not, we're not assuming, we know this is true. But there's a video they made together. I'd like to play that, and I want you to listen so you understand the fact that it's not just about people coming to save you. We'll need all the help we can get to, but maybe not this way. So take a listen to this. This is Mike Arnold with his evil friends discussing how Nigerian Christians have been persecuted. Take a listen, please.
This is Mike Arnold. I'm back in the United States with some of my dear friends and brothers who are part of what I call the sleeping giant, the mighty Nigerian diaspora population around the world. This giant is waking up, and good things will come of it. Just yesterday, President Donald Trump declared Nigeria a country of particular concern. A lot of people have worked very hard on this for a very long time, and it's going to give tools to the United States and other countries to apply pressure to the government of Nigeria to start to clean things there. Now, what Trump said next is even more important. He said this is just the beginning. I believe that there are investigations, there are indictments, and who knows what else coming down. The Nigerian leaders who have been complicit or profited from or intentionally turned a blind eye to this genocide, this Holocaust, the light is coming. You will be found and you will be brought to justice. My friends in Nigeria, what happened yesterday is spiritually like the parting of the Jordan River. Promised land lies ahead, a new Nigeria of righteousness and peace and prosperity. The battle is just starting now. Do not be afraid. God is on our side. A new Nigeria is coming. Thank God.
Thank you, my brother. My name is Evans Wankwo. I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. I was born in Nigeria. Nigeria was a very beautiful country until the extremists, backed up by the British government, turned it into a dark nation. And we all know that there's only one thing that could drive away darkness, and that is light. Yesterday, President Trump just shone a big floodlight on the nation. This nation has turned to be an evil nation. And I say that every evil has an expiration date. Yesterday, President Donald J. Trump just stamped expired on the evil that's going on in Nigeria. Thank you, President Trump, and over 125 million Christians in Nigeria say thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me begin by thanking God in a special way for this development that the President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump, has put Nigeria back on the list of countries of particular concern. And I also have to thank our brother here, Mike Arnold, and his close friend, Gibbs, and also in a special way, Ted Cruz, the senator. Let me clear something. You might be hearing a couple of propaganda going around. Oh no, this is going to bring sanction and more difficulties for the Nigerian people. Do not pay attention to that. If that is going to be the outcome of this mission, as a Catholic priest, I will not be part of it. I'm Reverend Father Augustine Odimegwa. I am telling the Nigerian community for a fact, this is primarily aimed at checkmating the high-level political individuals who are sponsoring terrorism in Nigeria. And I want to let you know that that is why they are running around, helter-skelter, trying to figure out how to stop it. But God is in control. Because basically what it means is that many of them They are going to lose their visa status, coming to America, or even parts of Europe. Many of them who have assets in America and Europe and all parts of the world, they are running the risk of losing all their assets, bank accounts, properties, houses, and all that. They are running the risk. So long as you are identified as one of those who are perpetuating this genocide against Christians in the past 10 years, once you are identified as an individual, you are running the risk of losing everything you have overseas. And we'll continue to fight until we fix Nigeria. If we cannot fix Nigeria, we'll work for the disintegration of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
My name is Dr. Sylvester Onya, President of AVID. The whistleblower in this is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. She started talking about the jihadists, the Fulanis, coming over to take and displace the indigenous people of Nigeria. Well, nobody paid him heed. The only thing they're interested in doing is charging him to court. For no offense, he have committed nothing. So, this coming Tuesday, we are very much aware of what have been fired, and the world is watching. We are watching. The United States is watching. So, Honorable Justice Omotosho should do the rightful thing. We encourage him to follow the rule of law. You cannot charge a man for nothing and expect to do something with it. You cannot use a repealed law to judge any human being. You cannot do double jeopardy on any human being. You cannot extraordinarily rendition somebody from another country, Kenya, to Nigeria, and want to profit from it. Illegality cannot yield anything. So nobody is stupid these days. We will fight, and just as we have won on the CPC designation, we will win the case of Nnamdi Kanu, and they need to set him free and bring peace to normal human beings in Nigeria. Concentrate on dealing with the people that are decimating everybody, people that are trying to kill off Christians, and leave people that want to live a normal life. You cannot benefit anything from that. And we're equal to the task. And we encourage every Nigerian to stand behind Nnamdi Kanu to get and demand for his unconditional release this coming Tuesday. Period. We are sick and tired of everyday adjournment, shenanigan court. There's nothing working. We should be worrying about development of the nation, not xenophobia and the Igbos, not attacking the Igbo markets, businesses. Enough of this nonsense. It must come to an end.
Are we still in the north? Is it still about Christians being killed in the Middle Belt? Are you listening to people that have been pushing that agenda? They're like, what agenda are they pushing? They're just talking. Oh, wait. Give me a second. I'm going to read something. I want you to listen to this. This is from the Cable. Insights. Social media amplifiers of Christian genocide claim in Nigeria affiliated with IPOB. I used to think they were not the same, and I don't think they're the same, but the more you see, the more they seem alike. Certain echo chambers on social media have played significant roles in amplifying claims of Christian genocide in Nigeria, the Cable can report. Since Boko Haram's insurgency began in 2009, allegations of a Christian genocide in Nigeria have periodically surfaced. While such narratives have persisted over the years, their intensity has fluctuated, fading briefly after last year before regaining momentum in 2025. In a Code for Africa, CFA supported the investigation, and open source intelligent OSINT analysis indicated that the earliest major spike in mentions of related claims on X, formerly Twitter, appeared in March. On March 11 and 12, the United States Congress heard proposals from lawmakers seeking the imposition of sanctions on Nigeria as a country of particular concern. When was this? March 11th and 12th. That is, how many months ago is that? That's about 8 months ago. A CPC is a country with a manifest propensity to religious intolerance, discrimination, and persecution. Data from X show that online conversations referencing the Christian genocide narrative remained below 5,000 posts from March to July, rose to nearly 10,000 between July and August, and then recorded a double surge in October, peaking at around 20,000 posts, the highest level in years. Between January 1 and October 1, the period covered by the investigation, there were approximately 165,000 mentions of the topic on X, an average of about 578 posts per day. In the same period, the posts reached an estimated 2.83 billion people, a figure more than 12 times Nigeria's population of roughly 230 million and about one-third of the world's 8 billion people. About 38,000 of all posts about the topic came from users posting from Nigeria based either on their profile location, geotag data, or inferred location from elsewhere. The cable found 4 prominent hashtags infused in the discourse: hashtag Christian genocide, hashtag Truth Nigeria, hashtag Lara Logan, and hashtag Biafra exit now. There are understandable reasons for some of the hashtags. Truth Nigeria is a media platform funded by Equipping the Persecuted, a humanitarian aid non-profit in Iowa, US. According to the platform's website, it was launched to challenge the biased mainstream media coverage of violence in Nigeria that ignores what they describe as a Christian genocide. Jude Saul, the platform's founder, has appeared on talks hosted by Lara Logan, a US investigative journalist who has also amplified the claims. But the hashtag Biafra exit now was an inexplicable component within the online discourse. The cable found that the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a separatist group in Nigeria that aims to restore the defunct Republic of Biafra, was among organizations featured in the X posts that mentioned claims of a Christian genocide. Sentiment analysis of the conversations showed that 68.3% of the posts carried a negative tone. Analysis of data sets obtained from CFA also showed that keywords supportive of Biafra and Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB leader, appeared most frequently in author bios. Some X accounts, notable for championing calls for IPOB separation from Nigeria, featured in the conversation. Multiple tweets from J. Kokchukwu, for example, claimed an ongoing Christian genocide in Nigeria. The same account, which has about 241,000 followers, has repeatedly made posts in favor of IPOB. How did IPOB become entangled in the Christian genocide narrative? Confidence McHarry, a senior geopolitics analyst at SBM Intelligence, linked the separatist group's involvement in amplifying the claim to underlying ideological sentiments. Quote, "The story about Christian genocide in Nigeria is not something that was pushed by any other organization. IPOB started it as far back as 2016, McHarry said. In 2016, violent clashes between the separatists and state security forces in Anambra left an unconfirmed number of victims dead. Most of the killings were underreported. It was very common to see handles that showed Nigerian army violence against IPOB supporters and their members in the southeast," McHarry explained. McHarry also noted that IPOB is sympathetic towards the US President Donald Trump administration. Christians were among Donald Trump's strongest supporters during his first and second terms, largely due to his positions on social issues such as abortion, religious freedom, and conservative judicial appointments. Similarly, Christianity is the dominant religion. The framing of what they, IPOB, are going through in the hands of the Nigerian government, who they are accused of having an Islamic motivation, trying to suppress Christian ideology and all of that, the Trump administration will be a lot more responsive in their sanctions or their proposed sanctions. But McHarry noted that an overwhelming drive of the resurrection of the Christian genocide narrative is owed to the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, whose members have testified to an intentional killing of Christians in the US Congress. Regarding IPOB's entanglement, quote, "Much of what they are doing is more in line with their own plight, not necessarily the plight of Christians generally. It is more of, quote, if the Trump administration focuses on Christian plight in Nigeria, there is a chance that a little bit of that spotlight will be on the southeast," unquote, he added. It also doesn't help that Intersociety, an NGO that is very interested in documenting quote-unquote killings of Christians in the southeast, is at the forefront of this cause. Earlier this year, the International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law in the Society, a pro-Christian civil rights group with a penchant for promoting sectional interest, claimed at least 7,087 Christians have been killed in 2025. The claim, which said the killed Christians surpassed the death of Palestinian civilians in Gaza this year alone, was circulated widely by foreign media. Cable Check, the cable's fact-checking arm, found the reports to be false. Emeka Umeagbalasi, Inter-Society's founder, repeatedly voices support for Biafra and Kanu. In 2023, Inter-Society condemned the criminalization of IPOB's Monday sit-at-home order in the Southeast. The report was published in the Association of Catholic Information in Africa, ACI Africa. Foreign interference. In a France 24 TV interview, Daniel Bola, special advisor to the president on policy communication, blamed the narratives of a Christian genocide in Nigeria on interference from Western actors. Bola said the instigated claims were in response to Nigeria's call for a two-state solution to the long-standing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. We do not believe that the sanctity of human life should be trapped in the corridors of endless debate and so on and so forth. According to Bola, 24 hours after Shetima's speech, Bill Maher, a U.S. comedian, started the Christian genocide campaign. Maher is an open pro-Israel supporter recognized as such by Jewish media. The real-time host previously said it was quote-unquote unjust that Palestinian people were forced to move, but they need to make the best of it. He has also said he is more on the side of the Israelis in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. U.S. lawmakers who have been at the forefront of pushing for sanctions against Nigeria include Ted Cruz, a senator, Riley Moore, and Chris Smith, members of the House of Representatives. The cable found that Cruz has received a total of $1,872,038 in donations from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, IPAC, a pro-Israel lobbying group. IPAC has also previously supported Moore, contributing a total of $42,300 to his political campaigns, while Smith has been a recipient of £267,975. The group also donated $44,479. What am I saying pounds? Dollars. The group has also donated $44,479 to Congressman Chip Roy. Mike Arnold, that's where we're going. The one that I just spoke in the video we listened to. Mike Arnold, a former mayor of Blanco, Texas, and founder of Africa Arise International, has insisted that the ongoing violence and displacement in northern and central Nigeria amount to genocide against Christian communities. How is Mike Arnold, who is representing Biafra interests, IPOB interests, be talking about what's happening in the northern and central Nigeria to Christians? And folks actually think this is about Christians. I am a Christian, by the way. And like I said, I want our Christian brothers to get all the help they can get. But don't be naive. Presenting his quote-unquote evidence in Abuja on Wednesday, he said Roy was one among several American officials with whom he was communicating updates. Why Nigeria? Yusuf Bako, a geopolitical expert and lecturer of international relations at Bayes University, told the cable that the quote-unquote false reports about the genocide of Christians in Nigeria are being spread by foreign individuals and organizations that have an agenda. Now, this thing is pretty long, but I'll just read the last part. Bako noted that international political differences exist within the country, which could further amplify these external attacks. We must appreciate that outside interference will leave us without a society to be able to have those differences, he said, urging Nigerians to unite against aggression and the falsehood of this non-existent quote-unquote genocide. A report commissioned by Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs labeled the allegation of the Christian genocide in the country as a dangerous single linear narrative. That was a long read. I just want to say this, and it's important to repeat it because I don't like extremes. One extreme is nothing is happening there, or they're just lying, or something is happening. People have been killed, and it's terrible. But the people pushing this are using, this is what happened in 1966. This happened literally. Who was on Radio Kaduna January 15? Nzogu. What did Nzogu think he was doing? Revolutionary coup. He became the voice of the coup, the face of the coup. The one everybody was insulting. They want everybody still insults today and called the leader of the coup. Of course, he did terrible stuff. For instance, he killed the Sadauna, killed his wife, and things like that. Terrible stuff. But all that he was doing, he thought he was a revolutionary. They put his face out there. But underneath everything, they were simmering. There was something else going on, which was ethnic in nature. And let me tell you what IBB used. The phrase IBB used. IBB said it was an unmistakably. It said that the coup took on an unmistakably ethnic coloration. So there was an unmistakably ethnic coloration going on, or ethnic undertone that was there. But the facade you saw was revolution. And the people that were used were people that were passionate, like Nzogu, like Adewale Ademoyiga. They just wanted change. The people that are being used today are the people suffering in the Middle Belt. The pastors went to the Congress, Catholic, and different, it's not even about denomination, different Christians were speaking at the Congress, oh, they are doing this to us, come and save us and everything. You really think you are doing that because you think that what you're doing is, like I said, it's like the revolutionaries, they were not wrong in their motivations. They were wrong in their actions. The ministers that went from the Middle Belt, they were not wrong in their motivations and they were not even wrong with their actions. But they do not know that there's a bigger narrative going on somewhere that has nothing to do with what they went to the US to do. And what is it? Is what we read, is what you listen to. Is IPOB. This whole thing has nothing to do with what's happening in the Middle Belt. You know what? Let me read another report. This time, I'm going to read from Premium Times. I may not go through the whole article like I did the other time because of time. It's nice. Premium Times, other time, because of time. I like the rhyme, which also rhymes. Cool. Anyway, let's get into some of these things. Just very quick. I'm just going to read part of it and then we'll go on. So this person is called Philip Van Niekerk. I'll tell you more about him later. He begins his article by saying 2 years ago at a dinner in Washington for so-called Africa experts to brief an incoming congressman on the continent, the newly elected lawmaker began his contribution by declaring that one of Africa's most urgent crises was a Christian genocide in Nigeria. When asked to elaborate, he cited a single name, Nnamdi Kanu, as an example of persecuted Christian languishing in prison. How did that name come up? We'll discover that later. So after the person says, he gave an example of Nnamdi Kanu. He cited a single name, Nnamdi Kanu, as an example of a persecuted Christian languishing in prison. The table fell silent when someone gently explained that Kanu was not a pastor or missionary, but a Biafran secessionist leader jailed for fomenting rebellion and inciting violence, not for his faith. That same combination of ignorance and emotional manipulation resurfaced this weekend when Donald Trump erupted on social media, threatening a quote-unquote fast, vicious and sweet military invasion of Nigeria to stop a supposed genocide against Christians. The statement was as dangerous as it was absurd. I'm just going to go to the last paragraph. Trump's eruption is the culmination of a years-long lobbying campaign in Washington by Biafran separatists who have cleverly repackaged their secessionist grievance as a struggle to save quote-unquote persecuted Christians. Since 2019, Biafran groups have declared more than $1 million on lobbying in Washington through Mercury Public Affairs, BW Global Group, and Daniel Golding. These are the people who push that narrative. The states who see Nigeria through the prism of their own culture wars. Senator Ted Cruz has floated legislation invoking religious persecution. Congress Riley Moore has made it a personal crusade. Even the comedian Bill Maher got in on the act, scolding the media for ignoring it. People are still being used. Here's the bad part. If you read the Igbo National Caucus Protocol of 1964, one of the things that those guys said was that Michael Okpara showed his hands too early. I think these avid guys, those are people that spoke earlier. One of them is a Reverend Father. He mentioned it, by the way. They showed their hands too early. So what's happening is this. You are trying to link your secessionist bid to folks who are being killed for something totally different in the Middle Belt. And we're supposed to say, oh, let them come and save us, because in your mind, you heard what he said. He said, we're going to work, break Nigeria. He's talking about the fact that Kanu must be released. What does Kanu being released have to do with what's going on in the Middle Belt? And was Kanu not going around with a shawl saying that he was a Jew? When did he become a Christian being persecuted? And there's a third bit to this. The third bit is what we listened to earlier, having to do with rare earth minerals and stuff like that in Nigeria. But the issue is, I hope now with everything we've read just now, you understand why we're saying that some people have the mindset of the irresponsible prostitute. In the parable I shared last week of Solomon, their goal is not to have a living child. Their goal is to ensure that you suffer just like they are doing. And if you were not here when I shared that story, it's from the Bible. Solomon had to preside over a case. There's a case of two prostitutes who had babies. Interesting thing, considering their line of work, but it is what it is. They had babies. One slept on her own child. That's what I call the irresponsible prostitute. She slept on her child till the child died. But because it was in the middle of the night, she quickly did away with the child and picked the baby of a colleague. When the other person woke up in the morning, was like, "That's my baby." I said, "No, it's not your baby, it's my baby." So they went to the king. The king said, "Whose baby is it?" "Oh, this one says it's hers, the other one says it's hers. There was no DNA test, there's no way to know." "Okay, so how do we get this sorted?" The king then said, "You know what, let's divide this baby in two. We'll give half to this woman and then the other half to the other woman." And one woman said, "Yes, do it. That would be fair." The other one said, "Just let her have it. Just let her have the baby." The king said, "The one who said let her have the baby is the true mother, because she doesn't want any harm to come to that child. The other one who is saying divide anything, that one is not a mother. That's the irresponsible prostitute." The folks pushing this Biafra agenda are irresponsible prostitutes. In other words, they're not concerned what's happening to the baby in the Middle Belt. They don't care if everybody dies in North Central, and I hope that will not happen in Jesus and by God's grace. Government has to do what they have to do. Things have to get better there. And we'll talk about some of the solutions later. But these clowns don't care. What they want is what they want. They will use you to get it, and they will drop you by the wayside. And this goes to Nigerians who are celebrating and tagging me, sending me messages. All of them from the Southeast, by the way. "Oh, they will invade your country now. Oh, they will destroy Nigeria now. What do you now do now?" I'm like, I thought you were Nigerians. Your home is desolate. Many cities and towns are deserted. You don't mind if it happens to other places. That's your own sense of fairness. Let them bomb everywhere. Make Port Harcourt the base. Port Harcourt is not your land. And people still think this is about Christian versus Muslim. Again, I'm a Christian, and I don't like the fact that Christians are dying, or even Muslims for that matter. Nobody should be dying. But this case, this thing that's happening right now, it's more to do with propaganda than reality. And just in case you're from the Middle Belt and you're listening to me, your voice, your cry, your agitation is valid, and you should be heard. Right? And like I said the other day, I understand why you're pushing the Christian narrative. It's not really Christian, but you have to use that because that's what the world will hear. I get it, and it makes sense. It is strategic, it is brilliant, and I wish it was just working because you said it was Christian, even though we can debate whether it was or not. But you know, if your family members are dying, who cares about debate? So I get it. But the flip side is, folks, the flip side is what will happen when the folks who are trying to get in, so that trying to break Nigeria apart, are using the pain of others to push a narrative. I even paid for it, as we read here, over $1 million. Now, a lot of people have been clamoring for let them cuckoo break Nigeria. I like using cuckoo. I'm Yoruba, you know. Let them break Nigeria. Let's just do it once and for all. Here's what I would say. If you want to break Nigeria, you shouldn't be supporting a separatist who just wants to destroy everything. You should work through your representatives. Now somebody will come up and say, they're not our representatives, they don't care about us. We are Igbos. Those people, they're just stealing money. I've heard it several times. So do you know what same people do? They infiltrate the political structure of their region. They infiltrate the political. One very good example is what happened in Ireland that led to Sinn Féin or Sinn Féin, depending on how you pronounce it. That party is literally a product of nationalism, of Irish nationalism. Scottish National Party, SNP, is literally the product of Scottish nationalism. How come people don't have the capacity to engage intellectually in things? For instance, if you're really bent on doing this thing, start a party. You're popular already. You are popular. Start a party. Infiltrate everywhere. The same way ABGA is so powerful in the southeast. Imagine if IPOB was a party. You really think they will not have all the governors in the southeast today, or at least 2 or 3? You think they will not have people going to the House of Reps to represent their interest and the people's interest? Imagine those people were voted in. Imagine IPOB moved as a party. It is, listen, even right now, as bad as it be right now, IPOB is still popular in the southeast. But people say things like, we want to get it now. That now you have been shouting since about 10 years ago. Have you gotten it? No. You are still have not gotten it. Why not play the long game? Have a party, get into elective positions, have people in the parliament, in the state level. How did we get Amotekun? The good thing about Yoruba is that we don't really need one party because we have a different kidney. But we're able to, because of course people are different, which is okay. They were able to galvanize all the governors in the southwest, worked with the houses of assembly in every state in the southwest, then pushed the bill until, of course, they got it passed in the National Assembly, and voila, we have Amotekun. You can have referendum that way. What is it with some people and structure and order? Like, you don't thrive in orderliness. It has to be dysfunctional. You have to break everything and scatter everything and bring guns. What? Listen, it's the same thing for people who are shouting Yoruba Nation. If you're really by the way, I am in Yoruba Nation at the moment. Yoruba Nation is a reality. It's not going to happen. It is here. It's a nation without sovereignty, just like Scotland is a nation without sovereignty, and I'm happy with it as it is right now. But if you want a separate nation, create this critical mass, focus on that agenda, and let the people support it. If they support you, they'll vote off Kiriko and say, oh, but it will be hard. Nobody says it's going to be easy. The one you are doing right now, is it easy? It may take you 5 years, 10, 20, but it's called a vision. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2. The vision is for an appointed time. Even if it tarries, wait for it, it will not tarry. It will surely come to pass. That's what the Bible says. The vision is for an appointed time. It's a vision. It will come to pass eventually. But you push using your brains, not just scattering everywhere and calling a foreign country to invade Nigeria because you want to have Biafra. Ooh. Let me ask you a question. Let's say this thing doesn't work. It will not work, by the way. It's not going to work. How do you think other Nigerians are going to look at Igbo people? Because I don't think people actually understand that this thing actually, it whittles down your goodwill amongst human beings. The news is out, and I've only read a few, by the way. There are more things confirming. It's not even confirming, just essentially reporting. They don't need to confirm anything because you see them even saying themselves. Just reporting what they are doing. So this thing goes out. Everybody knows that this whole thing is not even about the people suffering, although we have to empathize with their sufferings, but it's actually about you trying to break up Nigeria. So it doesn't work out. How do you think people are going to look at people in Igbo land? Years ago, I used to be the one standing up and telling people, IPOB is not Igbo. I always believed it, and I think I still believe it somewhat, even right now. It's difficult, by the way. I'm just telling you the truth. It's very difficult to believe it. But I choose to believe it because I think that's the same thing to do. Or else, you just assume that everybody is stupid. I don't think everybody is stupid. I have friends who are from that side. They are not stupid. I always said IPOB is not Igbo. But that's because I can even say I can delineate. If you think majority of Nigerians can delineate, you must be joking. Once they report, I mean, we are speaking English. We're speaking English. We're on social media. We're not really in the marketplaces, and everybody begins that hate you. Say they hate you. So think about everybody discovering the fact that you are the. In fact, let's assume it happens. It will not happen, by the way. But let's even say it happens. So when the dust settles, you really think you're going to stay in the same country with people that you want to break their country, not to have your own? How do people think? The more I study history and look at the news, it's becoming very clear to me that some things are congenital. Like, it has to repeat itself every generation. The same mistake. How? At least we can learn from the past. You're actually trying to break up the country by soliciting, not just soliciting, but actively. You're even writing letter to Trump. We know the terrain. You know, here we are. Set. You know what? In case you were not here when I read, I don't have to read it again. The video will come out later tomorrow. Say, here we are. Send us. You're telling Trump to send you to fight your country of origin because you want your ethnic nationality to be quote unquote free. And here's the crazy part. There are people coming here right now in the comment section, Igbos, insulting me. Do you have brains? Is it that it's sawdust they put inside your skull? Don't you think? Do you not hear what I'm saying? Does it sound like I'm insulting you? Are you not properly raised? Okay, now that you're insulting me in the comment section, how does that make you feel better? It makes you look like an idiot. What's this? I won't mute you. Continue. Just so that as you are saying it's going back to your parents, because myself and your dad are mates, so you can be sending it to your parents. I just see the nonsense you guys write in the comment section. How are you guys like this? Don't you understand what we're talking about? It will affect you more than any other people, more than any other group in Nigeria. And you now start the next generation of lamentation. I be lamenters, if there's any word like that. You now begin to lament all over again, generation to generation. They hate us, so they hate us. What did you do? They just hate us. This is what you're doing. This is sad. Every generation does the exact same. Guys, sincerely, if I tell you that there's nothing different in this thing, the only different thing here is this: there are more people in diaspora who are able to champion the cause, but the idea of the cause and the strategy they are using is exactly the same thing. The old dog has no new tricks, I guess. So, you have amplified it. You have said Nigeria is hating on. I feel sorry for folks in North Central. I've been there, by the way. I went to some parts of this. Not recently. It's been a while. Terrible. You know, you hear people. Of course, I didn't see. It wasn't like I was in the middle of the action, but I spoke to people and listened to them. Their concerns are real. The carnage is not made up. People are being killed. And many of these groups in the North Central, you don't know the Biroms, you don't know Angas, you don't know the Idoma. I'm sure some of you know. I'm just saying most of us. You don't know those people. How will you know Adara or Bachama? We don't know them. So they need something that you already know, which is Christianity. We are all Christians. So see, they are killing us. So I'm saying this because some folks, in a bit to make a case, are saying, oh, they're just exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating, no. But there are people whose stock in trade is to feed on other people's challenges or other people's pain in order to advance their own cause. And like their fathers failed, they will fail. If another generation comes up with this thing, that generation will fail. If it takes you 100 years to learn your lessons, you keep failing. And this is not just from me, it's from the mouth of every right-thinking person, and from Atonyo Nuatashedi. If you don't understand that one, go and ask your Bible. Oh, you know, I said yo, Agbao, Omode, I want to cook gun. Come at your adult call long, because there is no way you are bent on destroying a country because of some stupid idea. Get involved in politics. Guys, when was IPOB? When did they start? 2012? It's been 13 years. Think of what would have happened in 13 years. You think they would not have displaced Abga in the southeast? They would have easily. They're popular. Say presidency is maybe under 12, 15 years. That will come later. But how do you change laws? What's the primary thing? Number one, you want to make sure you have the houses of assembly in all those regions, and most likely, of course, have the governors as well. That may happen in 8 years or 12 or less. Then you have folks in the National Assembly, and you keep pushing it. Let me tell you what IPOB needs, and all these agitators, all they need is just one clause. It's just one clause, and that clause is the clause that allows for a referendum in Nigeria. Let the people decide. Do I want them to have a referendum? Absolutely. There's a book on my shelf. Nigeria is negotiable. I believe that. There's nothing like, oh, we cannot break. No. I mean, it's like being in a marriage and you have no options of leaving. Why can't you leave? You should be able to leave, but you can choose to stay. A lot of us have been married for a while here. Many of you have had reasons to leave your marriages. You chose to stay, not because you had no options to leave. A very popular couple, I've said this here before, a very popular couple in Hollywood who said, no, there's no option of kiniko, there's no option of divorce. They are the ones talking about different things I've never heard before happening in a person's marriage. Different arrangements. You'll be like, The children don't know what's going on. The kids are confused. Everybody's just doing what they like because you said there is no clause. That thing is not going to happen. We must not divorce. I don't think it's good to divorce. The Bible says God hates divorce. But people have a right to leave if they want to. But then they also have the wisdom to stay regardless of the challenges. That's what brings maturity. Not the denial of that option, but the choice not to take it. If everybody was exercising their choices, all of us would have divorced. You choose not to, not because you cannot. Like nobody's saying you must not. So Nigeria can be renegotiated. It's important we have these conversations. We must. But it's a conversation, not gun, not violence. So all they need is just ensure that referendum thing that Zeke worked against in 1954, by the way, that's another thing. You guys have short-term thinking. Success in the very short. It happened in 54. It happened in 66. It happened in 64. It happened in 54, 64, 66, 93. It's happening again. Just win, sharp. You are thinking like a trader. If I put this, I can make this thing. That's it. How? What happens after the sale? Just very quickly, let's just quickly do this or do this. Now he did what he wanted to do in 54. This is 2025. You are crying for what your representative denied you guys in 54. Generations. I mean, he's late now. He's died in 96. He's not allowed to see all this. Although he saw Biafra, the civil war. Think about it. So he denied you. I mean, bad news. That's all. We can't even keep blaming him. What do you do now? You get people that believe in your cause, International Assembly, into House of Assembly. You play the game. Might take a while, but you win eventually. And then they give us that clause. Me, I want that clause. Why? Let the people in Igbo land decide if they want to stay or not. And if they choose to stay, anybody that then goes around to say they are marginalizing us, but they would have said that they are the ones that said they want to stay. I was reading a book yesterday. I was just like, why is this happening again? It was a document from 1968. What they were looking for dual citizenship in Nigeria. They wanted to leave Nigeria and have Biafra, but they wanted dual citizenship. They wanted the same customs, the same. I mean, maybe one day we'll talk about it. I've read it here before. And like, it's happening again. It's painful. It means that no generation has learned nothing. So everybody starts afresh with no lessons, nothing to build on. If you give referendum now and you give us that clause, that provision, people vote. If majority of the Igbos vote to leave. They leave peacefully. Even if it's, again, it will be difficult, but again, this is not about whether it's going to be easy. The one they are doing right now, carrying guns, is it easy? You have young people who cannot engage intellectually. You start talking, they're insulting you. If you give them gun, they will be shooting you through the phone, but it's your parents that will kill you. But the point is that you can't have conversations because you have indoctrinated people with nonsense one-liners and talking points and dangerous narratives and single narratives and marginalization narrative and a victim narrative and all this nonsense, and they're just thinking, oh, we are going to fight, go grill, zobu. Is that how to build nations? Lastly, before I move away from this to us as Yoruba people, and Yoruba, ikú tó ń pa ojúgbà ẹni òwe ńlá ló ń pa fún ni. Gbogbo àwọn zọbúzọbú tó wọ́n bá kí lórí social media ẹ jẹ́ farabalẹ̀ torí àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ń wo nǹkan tẹ́ ń kọ sórí social media mọ̀ sọ Yorùbá ni àwọn ọ̀dọ́ ń wo àwọn kan tẹ́ máa wà tó máa rò pé bóyá nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ ó mú ọpọlọ wá tó bá jẹ́ lọ́lọ́ gba nígbàkúgbà bí àwọn ará bíi ẹ̀wọ̀n dá lérò. Look around. Every region has security challenges, but ibi tí wọ́n lè sùn tó máa fi ẹ̀dọ̀ lórí òróǹro ní Nàìjíríà yìí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. It's not perfect though, but pé wàá sùn wàá fi ẹ̀dọ̀ lórí òróǹro ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. In other words, you can have peace of mind. Gbàgbé àwọn lè sùn tó máa fi ẹ̀dọ̀ lórí òróǹro ní Nàìjíríà yìí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. It's not perfect though, but pé wàá sùn wàá fi ẹ̀dọ̀ lórí òróǹro ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. In other words, you can have peace of mind. Àwọn tó fẹ́ dalé wọn rú ẹ̀ kan lọ dalé wọn rú. And I've said it, no matter how many times they try, they'll continue to fail. Why? Because it has nothing to do with they don't care what happens. I don't even know how all these Yoruba things are coming to my mouth, but we thank God for grace. For instance, I'm going to play you a video. Bianco, that's a new one. You've not heard it before. In other words, 2 p.m. is Aila. Asuba is 5 a.m. So they don't mind if everywhere gets dark at 2 p.m. because that gives them what they want. Maybe they want to go and kill people, or they are armed robbers, or they need the dark to work. But this we cannot afford as Yoruba people. But if you're a Christian specifically, let me address this before we move on to what Trump said in Syria. If you're a Christian, please have empathy for the Middle Belt, for North Central, even for Igbo people, for everybody, have empathy. But don't be naive. Don't be naive. Let's shouting Jesus, they're doing for the Lord. Even the Lord does not know what they are doing for him. He knows they are just lying to themselves. Nobody's doing anything for the Lord. They're doing for themselves. Don't be carried away with all these narratives as a Christian. Because that's actually what there is in America right now. Because, oh, the Christian, I saw a tweet. You're there. Oh, are you Christians in Nigeria? I hope you are able to go to church. Me, I was not like, hey. People say talk about Nigeria. You think that you now be asking yourself, do I live in Nigeria or am I somewhere between the US? I mean, like, that's the kind of narrative that they push. And as a Christian, because you believe all things, before you know it, you believe nonsense. Please don't. God bless you.